What's going on, everybody? It's Nico, and today the reason I'm uploading a Smite gameplay video is because I wanted to talk about the whole Smite coming to Xbox One thing. Excuse me. So, you might have noticed there's been some news that Smite is being ported to Xbox One. Now, there's been two sides to this. Either you're really excited for the growth of Smite and you can't wait to have high-res make more money, or you think this is the worst possible thing ever and high-res is stupid. I've seen both from everything, because I went to the Smite Reddit and I was like, as soon as I saw that information anywhere, like I saw it on Twitter and I was like, I'm going to go to the Smite Reddit and I know exactly what I'm going to see. And then I went to there and the top voted comments were all things that I knew were going to be there. Why are they porting it to Xbox when the servers suck? Blah, blah, blah. God's overpowered. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Like, it was just a bunch of bullshit and I hated it. But I knew it going into it because the Smite Reddit is awful. And if you are subscribed to me and are also somebody who actually frequents the subreddit, I don't care if I hurt your feelings, because that Reddit is fucking cancerous and just the worst. But one of my things is, well, okay, here are the two sides. There are people that are saying that this whole thing is going to ruin Smite because it's going to slow down patches and they're going to have more servers and everything. Well, one, most of the games that use dedicated servers on Xbox One use Microsoft servers, so we don't have to worry about that. Two, people were worried that Xbox players were going to be playing with PC players, and it was just going to cause, whoever has PC players wins. Why would that ever be a thing? Cross-platform gaming hasn't been a thing in the longest time. I think there was one game that tried that, and as far as I know, it failed. So I don't know why anyone thought that you were going to be able to play with Xbox One players on PC. But yeah, that's not a thing. They're two separate entities. It's like, we're here, they're there, you can't queue with each other or anything like that. So you don't have to worry about that either. Another thing is, I've heard people think that they're going to dumb down Smite in some way, shape, or form to adhere to the console players. I don't even understand how that's possible, looking at Smite. The one thing, that's glaringly obvious that looks like it was added for console that I've noticed since, I've heard about this, and, I've always thought at some point they were going to port Smite to console anyway because it makes sense. It's this is, the only MOBA that can be ported to console and still work because people already play it with controllers, so I always thought it was going to happen anyway, and now it is. But the one thing that I noticed in all the patches from beta to now that is glaringly obviously console related is the whole, when you open your VGS, you can ping on the map from that. You get the indicator on your screen that you can ping specifically on the map. That makes sense in a console game. For us, on PC, it didn't make that much sense unless you were oh, he's here, and you use that ping to hover it over exactly an enemy and ping on it. But it makes more sense in the console sense. It's probably worth a different thing. It makes more sense on console because they're not going to have a way to press Alt or Space, depending on whether you have jump bound or not, hover over your map, click, and ping, where they won't be able to do that. I'm fairly certain they won't be able to ping their map like we can, so that sucks for them, but yeah. And that's one thing I've noted that was, obviously console. It just makes sense that that would be ported to console in some way, shape, or form, that they could ping them, their map through the in-game ping thing. You know what I'm talking about. You know what it is. When you press the VGS system, when you press V, you get an indicator and you can ping the map with it if you left-click instead of going through your VGS. The thing that sucks for console is it probably won't have the VGS system, but they have live, they can use mics. They'll just use mics, which sucks for them because everybody's gonna rage at each other. Because I don't know. I don't want to say console they're worse than PC, but if you get just random people that are oh, Smite, I don't know what that is, and they're a Call of Duty player or something, they could rage more. It's the possibility for more people raging at each other and actually telling each other to go kill themselves is higher. If that's actually going to happen, remains to be seen. Hopefully it doesn't, because that would really suck, and those people suck. But yeah, So they won't have a VGS system most likely because I don't know if you've noticed, but this is an Xbox 360 controller. The Xbox One controller doesn't have, as far as I know, any more buttons than this one has. It has the same bumpers, same triggers, all of this stuff, and all of this stuff. Also, that was backwards for me because I'm right-hand dominant, so to see this, it was weird. But yeah, they don't have any more buttons, so the one problem I see is having to map out everything onto this controller, because as it stands, I use WSD to move, which you're going to use the left analog stick in all directions to move, obviously. Then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 for your skills, which I guess could be your top 4 buttons, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. But then to fire them, they would all have to be on instant cast. So if that's not on instant cast, you have to map one of these buttons to it. And A, I would assume is going to be jump if they're going to put jump in Smite for Xbox One, though I don't know if they will. X could be basic attack, Y could bring up the store, and B could recall. But then again, you also have pressing in the analog stick, so I don't know, and you have the D-pad. But after all that, you have active items, you have consumables. So my actives are on F and G because it's the easiest place for me to do it. I don't want to sneeze now. I'm in the middle of a video. Alright, so X, A, back. Y could either be the store, or start could just be the store. Start might be actually start, like if you press escape. So I don't know. But back might be store. And then D-pad, left, right, up, down could be consumables and active items. So it doesn't seem too difficult to map out everything so far. But if you use all the buttons I just said, there's no way to level up. So one of the things I think that was like more implemented on PC recently that was more intended for when the console version comes out is the auto level customizable, like customizer thing. So that way you don't have to worry about having buttons to auto, like to level up in game. You can just use the auto leveler. So I think that's what that's intended for. I mean, if anybody knows exactly how to map out all of the buttons we use on PC, like on our keyboard for an Xbox controller, go ahead and say it in the comments, because like I said, I ran out of ideas with all the buttons. Though I think some of the buttons I said made sense for a third-person action game. So I could be wrong, but I don't know. That's another thing that I thought was implemented for console. Other than that, I can't think of anything in the past that has been implemented specifically for a console support. Like, it doesn't make sense for that. But yeah, I don't see this as a problem. Some people have said they're going to dumb it down, make it simpler, more for casual and everything. I don't see that happening, though there have been some balance like changes in Smite that have gone, why did you do that exactly? Like the buff for Giannis for his portals so he can use them more. I understand he's a very high skill cap character, but that doesn't make him any less broken with the fact that he can one-shot people. But I don't know. So that's one of the things where, and then there are some people that are saying like, oh, no wonder why they're taking skill shots out of Smite. Okay, one, Giannis is, I don't care how overpowered and how strong he is, he's hard to use. He's not easy. He does do really poorly in like low-level games and high-level games. He's like banned all the time because if anybody gets his hands on him, he kind of just carries. And it makes sense. But like, at the same time, I don't see somebody like being able to use his portals by setting up with this. Like, none of that's easy to hit on mouse and keyboard, let alone like how hard it's going to be on controller. And then Circuit's 2, the one ability that some people say is overpowered on her because of the way it works, her Madness CC, that is really tough to hit because it's a short, very quick skill shot. Not going to be any easier on the console. Like, people say like they're going to dumb down the game. It's like, we've always had gods with giant cones and AoEs in the game ever since like open beta. Like Vamana's big ass cone attack that does a shit ton of damage. That's been in the game since closed beta. Who else has giant cones? Zhong Kui, when he was added, this probably wasn't even a like thought in their minds to do because the Xbox One hadn't even been announced. and all he is AoE. Like, he's the most, like, the least skill shot oriented character in Smite, and like, he's a year old, I think, like, at this point. So, like, yeah, I could see Zhong Kui being really, really, like, awesome in console Smite, because it's like, I don't have to aim anything, because it's all big-ass cones and AoEs. So, that makes sense. But, like, they're gonna be characters that probably won't be played as much. Like, I have a feeling Naja won't be played as much, and I know he's not played, like, at all on PC either, but, like, everything, like, 3 out of his 4 abilities are very hard to hit skill shots. Though the Sash was buffed a long time ago to make it way easier to hit, but the other 2, not so easy, and I don't see them being easier on controller. But yeah, I don't think they're going to dumb down the game in the terms of the skills that gods are going to have or anything for console. And then another problem people think is that the game will be patched slower. On console, there's a possibility that they only get like 1 patch a month, but that shouldn't affect PC in any way, shape, or form, because they don't have to patch the games at the same time. And proof of this is the fact that the Chinese client is so many patches behind ours, and so is the Brazilian or South American. I can't remember where Smite just launched. Like, it has their own client and their own servers and everything right now. But they are patches behind us as well. Like, we don't have to be at the same level. Like, hell, when Minecraft came out on Xbox, it wasn't at the same level as PC Minecraft. There was shit you could do in PC Minecraft that I don't know if you still can do on, like, Xbox 360 Minecraft. So there's no reason for, like, Hi-Rez to be like, oh, we're not going to patch the PC version today because the Xbox version won't be patched till next week. That doesn't have to happen at all. And in fact, I've heard from some people that Xbox has learned a lot from the 360, and that, like, working with indie developers and free-to-play games on Xbox One, that they're allowing patches to go through easier. So, if for all we know, that patch, like, not being able to patch Smite on Xbox One might not even be a thing. But if it is, it won't affect us, because they'll still be able to patch it bi-monthly for us. And maybe if it does affect Xbox One owners, they only get a patch once a month. So they get 1 giant patch, and we get the regular 2 patches we get every month. Other than that, I don't have anything else to talk about, because I've presented both sides, the good and the bad, and in my opinion, it's just going to end up making Smite a bigger game, because it's the only MOBA right now that can be on console. Oh, one more thing, actually, before I kind of end off. People were sad to be like, oh, it's Xbox One. Apparently in the trailer it said, coming first to Xbox One, meaning at some point in the future they foresee bringing it to PS4. So if you have a PlayStation 4 and you were like, I wanted to play Smite because my computer's poop and your videos are cool and I want to play it, but I don't have an Xbox One, hold on to hope, because it seems like they're going to be releasing it for the PS4 as well. Wii U, probably not. I'm just going to throw that out there, because the Wii U, out of all the consoles, isn't as strong, and I don't know the specs of the Wii U. All I know is the Xbox One and PS4 were made in mind to be more PC-like. I don't know anything about the Wii U in that regard, so it would be easier for them to port Smite to Xbox and PS4, because they're more PC-like than the last generation, and I don't know anything about Wii U to speak on that. Sorry. But I presented both sides, the good and the bad, what I think is actually going to happen, and then my opinion on it. And yeah, I don't know. I'm excited because it means Smite's getting bigger, and there's going to, well, obviously I'm excited because I make Smite videos, and if an entirely new audience of people comes to Smite through Xbox, and then they discover my channel, my subscriber count can jump a bajillion. Like, why wouldn't I be excited about that? I don't think that it's actually going to happen, at least not in that way, but it's more people playing Smite, and that's always a good thing. I don't think if anything bad comes out of it, you can tell me you told you so, or whatever, but I don't see Hi-Rez dumbing the game down specifically just for console, because I can't see how they would do it, in my opinion. Like, I can't see it, so, I don't know. that's about all I can think of to say on this topic. I just want to speak on it real quick because it was something on my mind. And yeah, if you have any opinions on it, go ahead and leave all your comments down below. That'd be cool. Any like concerns you have, like, just, you know, go off. We can have a conversation. Just keep it civil. Don't call each other idiots or anything. Like, I like conversations. I don't like you guys arguing, so don't do that. Though you're good with not arguing with each other, so I don't think I have to say that, but I will anyway. If you liked the video, leave a thumbs up. If you disliked the video, leave a thumbs down. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of the day, and I'll see you later. Peace.